On today's show, we're going to replace the tires on my bandsaw with these nice new urethane tires. Upgrade!
Hit it!
A couple weeks ago, I was making a cut at this bandsaw and noticed that the blade started to wander. It just felt off. So of course I turned the machine off, opened up the cover, and I took a look and noticed that the tire was coming off of the wheel. Now, I guess it must have stretched over time so that it was loose, and had that continued, the blade would have fallen right off the wheel and it could have been really, really bad news. Fortunately, I got to it in time. So, a replacement was in order. Now, when you replace your bandsaw tires, you don't necessarily have to go for these standard black rubber ones. You can actually get these upgraded urethane tires. And everyone I talk to who has these absolutely loves them. They say it runs quieter, runs a little bit smoother, they last longer, doesn't require any sort of adhesive to hold the tire onto the wheel. So I figured, what the heck, let's go for it. Took everything apart, installed it, and so far, so good. So let me show you how the install process went. I start by removing both wheels from the bandsaw. You can probably do this with the wheels in place, but it might make things needlessly difficult. The bottom wheel has a reverse threaded bolt as well as a key that you really don't want to lose. Remove the old tires and clean the wheels of any dust or debris. I picked up these tires on Amazon for about 26 bucks. They're 1 inch wide by 14 inches in diameter, and it's made for a 14-inch bandsaw. The tires are a little tight to simply stretch onto the wheel, so I soaked them in hot water for about 5 minutes, a trick I read about online. While the tires were cooking, I made a nice blunt tool from a dowel that should help me get the tire onto the wheel without doing damage to either. With the tire warmed up, I put the bottom half on the wheel and held it in place with some spring clamps. I then hold the tire to the workbench with a holdfast and a piece of scrap. Now I use my handy blunt tool, working my way around to the other side of the wheel, pushing the tire down and onto the tire channel. While the tire fits perfectly on most of the wheel, there are a few areas where it's a bit too tight. I simply trimmed the tire down with a new razor blade. The tire should sit snug all the way around with no dead space between a tire and the wheel. The wheels go back on the saw the same way they came off. Of course, remember to install that little key properly in the bottom wheel. Now I can reinstall my blade, recalibrate, and it's time for a test run. And it cuts through this hard maple like butter. Now, after using the bandsaw for a few days, I can say that it sounds a little bit quieter and it runs a little bit smoother. It's not a dramatic leap from what I had before, but it is a little bit better. So if it costs a few extra bucks to get the urethane tires, personally I'd recommend them. It wasn't that bad to install. Using the hot water really helped to stretch things out. A little bit of a learning curve there, but certainly something you can do within 15 or 20 minutes and have these new tires ready to roll. So if you get a chance, upgrade to some urethane tires.